Hey friends, welcome. This is Dr. Heather live from Ask Dr. Heather, and come on in and join us here. See what's happening at Ask Dr. Heather. This is a place where you can actually, if you're super confused about what's happening in the health and wellness nutritional world, please don't ask me for computer advice. I can't help you with that, but I can definitely help you sort and sift through what's happening in the health and wellness world. So you'll see my motto is ask, act, achieve. That means if you have a question, maybe you think it's silly, maybe it's not, maybe you can't find the answer somewhere, ask the question here, and hopefully I'll be able to give you some action steps so you can start achieving the health that you want. So as you're joining, know that this page is meant to be shared, meant to invite people in. Generally what I do is when I get a whole bunch of questions, I pop on here live and hopefully you join me and answer those questions. So I'm looking here now and I started making a whole bunch. I mean, once you get one idea, like the whole ideas start rolling. So last night I had several people ask me, when do you check for ketones? When do you not check for ketones? When is it important? When is it not important to check? So, and how do you check? So there's 3 different ways to check for ketones. You can actually do a breathalyzer. We have that one at the office. We have the ketonics. You can actually check and blow into a meter and it checks your acetoacetate, which one is the ketone body that your body makes. So it works kind of like the police officer checking for alcohol, or the breathalyzer. You can use the ketonics. It checks for acetoacetate, not BHB. You can also use very economical urine strips. They are the cheapest. They're the best to start with when you're first switching over to a low-carb ketogenic diet. And because it's honestly about $8 for the first 90 of them. And they do expire after you use them for, if you leave them open for 3 or 6 months, they do expire, but they're super economical and you can definitely get started with that. And then I have the precision meter at the office we've had for 4 or 5 years. But the thing about the precision meter is that you have to buy separate meters, one for glucose, one for ketones, where the Keto Mojo, the strips are a lot less expensive and you can actually check your hemoglobin, your hematocrit, your glucose, and your ketones all in one little poke there. So you simply do a little poke there and we'll do it here at the end. So who should be testing, who should not? Well, if your doctor's recommended that you go on a ketogenic diet, you definitely need to be checking your ketones. People ask all the times, if I'm using Prove It's ketones, does it take me in or out of my fast? If I'm using MCT oil, if I'm using butter, those things do have calories. Does it take me in or out of my fast? Definitely just start checking your body, start biohacking and see what's happening. And what I generally do, like I was checking for my coffee, I checked my blood glucose before I had coffee, had just straight coffee, 0 calories, checked my blood glucose about 20 minutes after I drank my coffee. Blood sugar stayed the same. Then I put some dairy in there and the same thing the next day. My blood sugar went up, so I know that took me out of my fast. I do have a dairy sensitivity. And then I know that I can use on the keto cream, I can use about a half a pack of the keto cream, even though it has a little bit of dairy. I think the cinnamon plus the collagen plus the MCT make additional ketones, so it actually raises my ketone level. So that's how you simply check. Oftentimes people are actually eating the macros that they calculated on the computer and like, oh, I'm on a ketogenic diet, I'm feeling fantastic or whatever, but they're not checking their ketones. What we don't want to have happen, because ketogenic diet actually takes away your appetite, makes you feel fuller longer, you stop craving, which is amazing for most of us. However, I've seen it happen where people are like, well, I'm losing weight, but I feel mushier, like my muscles are getting mushier, like I feel squishier. That's because you're probably either not eating enough calories or you're not in ketosis. You've lowered down the carbs, you've lowered down the protein, and most people aren't eating enough fat, or your liver's not healthy enough to tap into the fat. What happens is then your body starts going through gluconeogenesis, which means it starts breaking down your lean muscle mass. So you may be getting a smaller version of yourself, but not a stronger version. Because if ketones aren't high, if you're not in ketosis, measuring at least 0.5, 0.8, the myostatin is an enzyme that breaks down your lean muscle mass and gets that for fuel. So oftentimes people are like, I've been on a ketogenic diet for 6 months, I've lost X amount of fat pounds, but they've never once, I'm looking for my clicker, never once checked their ketones. And then we check it like, I'm not in ketosis. I'm like, no, you're not in ketosis. And they're super surprised, but that does make sense to them, like why they're not getting the results that they want. So who to check, when to check. Every biohacker should check. If you lower your calories drastically, you need to be checking. If you're not eating enough high fats, or you can't tell if something's maybe an allergy, or maybe you think you're in ketosis and you don't know by the smell of your breath or the way your tongue feels, you don't have to check every day all the time, but you definitely need to be checking at least 2 or 3 times a week if you're losing fat pretty quickly, just to make sure you're protecting your lean muscle mass. So I check if it's in doubt. So I'm going to do an experiment this weekend. I'm going to get the Costco pizza. I'm using Costco because everybody's sharing it, because it has, I think, 1 slice, and Quest makes also a keto pizza that 1 slice is like 26 total carbs, but then you do all the math. It's got some corn fiber in there, lots of different dairy stuff. And then it actually says minus all the special math is like only 4 or 5 carbs per piece. So do I risk it? Do I go out of ketosis? I'm going to do it for you guys. I'm going to try a piece of that pizza. I'm going to check my ketones before I eat the pizza. I'm going to eat the pizza, and then I'm going to check my ketones and my glucose about 20 to 30 minutes after I eat it. Should be peaking about there. If my glucose goes up, then I know that it actually took me out of my fast or took me out of ketosis. Or if my ketones drop below 0.5, then I know I'm out of ketosis. And I will do this without drinking exogenous ketones because I know for my body, it does raise that ketone level anywhere from really about 0.8 to almost 1.5 millimoles, depending on the time of the day, depending on how my diet's been. So who should check? Anybody who's lowering their calorie count under 1,000 calories, anybody who's making huge, big shifts, not getting the changes that you want. Because again, you can get fat loss, you can get weight loss. Like the HCG diet is absolutely no fat. You can still get in ketosis. And that's why they have you checked very rigidly to make sure you're in ketosis, because you're having no fat, you're having less than 500 calories. So if you've lowered your calories down, or maybe you're over exercising, then you absolutely need to be checking. And I don't care which way you check. I know that I do have the urine strips because it's super easy to check it. So if you're starting out and you're just joining us and saying, you know what, I'm going to start this ketogenic diet, I'm going to go ahead and lower my carbs to 25 grams. I'm giving you a secret here, so get your pen out. So what I do is I have females lower to 25 total carbs a day. And then if it takes them 5 or 6 days to get into natural ketosis, once you're in ketosis and the strips say they're in ketosis, I have them checked 3 or 4 times throughout the day, because you could wake up and be in ketosis and maybe have your fat coffee, have your couple eggs and some veggies, or eggs and peppers. Peppers actually have a lot of sugar in them once you cook them, like red peppers. That could take you out of ketosis. So if you're just checking in the morning, and then you could be slipping out of ketosis in the afternoon, or maybe you check before you work out, and then after you work out, you go through glucose and glycogen, then you're back in ketosis. It's just a good way to tell what's happening. And I do advise people, once you get there, you're fine that you're in ketosis all day long, then increase your total carbs by 3 grams. That's it. So don't do it a night where you had a lot of stress, or don't do it a night where you're traveling time zones or not getting good sleep. Do it where you're pretty consistent, and just increase every 3 or 4 days by about 2 or 3 carbs. You'll kind of find that sweet spot for you. Some of it may vary on your activity, because again, ketones are energy. So it's a good way to tell you where you're getting that shift, so to speak. So just start checking that. I do use a blood meter because I honestly want to say, when I'm feeling really good, I want to know what my ketone levels are. If I'm not feeling good, I want to know, why am I not feeling good? Is it my ketones are way too high? Are they too low? Is my glucose here or there? So, and for me, it also kind of tells me if there's an allergy situation. So like dairy, I always say dairy is a sensitivity for me, or an allergy. And I definitely want to check it there, because I want to see if it's taking me out of ketosis. I know, I can tell you, if I eat too many red peppers and onions, I love them caramelized, like on fajitas. We're having chicken tacos tonight on pork rinds. If I overeat on some of those veggies, even Brussels sprouts are kind of a category 3. Category 3, if you look at my stuff, just means they're about 6 to 9% carbs. They can actually take me out of ketosis. So can spaghetti squash. That's where I get to use my exogenous ketones a little bit to help me have a little more metabolic flexibility. So hopefully that helps. Who should test? When should you test? Again, if your doctor says be on a ketogenic diet, please be checking. And if you're on a ketogenic diet according to your macros, but you've never checked your ketones, I do encourage you to go ahead and get a meter, get some urine strips, see what's happening inside your body, because we definitely don't want you just being a smaller version and not a stronger version of yourself. So that is one. Who wants to give it a try? Well, if you want to try a ketogenic diet, I really encourage you to test as you start getting started, so you know where your body is. Don't just drop it down and say, I don't know what's happening, because again, you got to see what's happening metabolically. You do not want to lose lean muscle mass, and the only time your muscles are protected is when your ketone level is above 0.5 on the meter, or if it's showing even a mild or moderate on the strip. So there's times I'll just give people like 10 or 12 strips. You can see, sorry, I know the camera is not always good, but they're clear. And then the darker they get, it just says you have a trace or a lot. So it doesn't really matter what color it is. Any change at all is a yes for ketosis. And again, check it throughout the day, because when you're sleeping, you're fasting, it should say yes. Have your first meal of the day. Check it again about 30 or 40 minutes. If you're out of ketosis and you know something that you ate or you overate actually took you out. So that's a great way. And see also if you're exercise, that can also tell you what's happening in there. Number 2, people like, how do you get started? So I compare this to Bible, to church. You know, our family goes to church once a week. When the kids were little, we sent them to Bible or vacation Bible camp, because they would go, you know, for 2 weeks straight for 4 or 5 hours every day. I do run a keto boot camp. Yes, we were keto all day long. I'm mentioning stuff throughout the week about keto and low carb. We do run a 10-day keto kickstart reset. Who is this for? anybody who wants to try a low carb, high fat ketogenic diet, just doesn't even know what to do, that here they kind of want to try it, don't know. 10 days is a good time to kind of put give it a good run around, see how does my body perform with it. Anybody who's just a biohacker dabbler, people are doing carnivore, people are doing vegan, people are doing paleo, people are doing zone. Anybody who's a biohacker or just trying to change your metabolic, slow down that aging process, I challenge you to join us. Anybody who just wants to be the best version of themselves, you know that you've slipped into the we call it carb creep, where the carbs kind of creep back into your diet, like you're taking a bite here off your kid's plate, or here off your hubby's plate, or here off your friend's plate. Just, try a little bit of sip of this. People do that all the time when you're out to eat or at work, or just one piece of candy or one mint won't do it. So see if you could be without carbohydrates, sugars, and snacks. So no fat bombs for 10 days. We eat 2 to 3 meals a day within an 8-hour window, and we see if we can get your body to make its own ketones called ketogenesis. We do use the exogenous ketones because that's what helps you get through that keto flu. I don't call it the keto flu. It's actually the carb flu. We know sugar is highly addictive. Think of what happens if an alcoholic comes off the alcohol. It is a 28-day detox. The same thing happens if you're having a diet that's 50+% carbohydrates, pastas and breads and chips and fruit. You're going to feel it too, and the exogenous ketones help you actually get through that. So this is for anybody who just wants to just try to optimize their health. What is included in our keto 10 days? So normally what's included is we have 10 different flavors and servings of the different Prove It products. You drink 1/2 to 1 every single day. Somebody said, I want the details. So here are the details. If you're good for 10 days, I know anybody can do anything for 10 days, just join us. I am throwing in, I do have a book that I wrote. It's a 24-page color booklet, meals, measures, recipes, details. Also has mindset in there, like Day 5 is actually letting go. Am I going to say that one? It's just letting go of past regrets. Just like get over the car wreck, or let go that you burned the chicken. Like letting some of those things go is okay. And because we know emotionally and with neuroplasticity, we're trying to make those happy hormones in our brain while we're eating healthy food and not going back to our hangry, addicted food stage. We know that actually detoxing some of the emotions can be super helpful. We have different 5-day workouts in here. If you've never walked at all, we have a session to get a couch potato to a 5K. Also some workouts. We have a whole bunch of recipes. We have 40 different dining out recipes each and every day. I'm reading over here. So we help you set health goals. We help you get your cabinets cleaned out. We have daily hacks in a layered learning system. That means you don't know how to overhaul your diet all in one day. So we do a 10-day layered learning. There's about a dozen physicians in there. We all come in and we just share the value in there and help you join that. So what we do is if you buy 10 servings of ketones from myself or one of our other coaches, then we actually put you in the group. It's a layered learning. We give support. So it means in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, throughout the day, we're giving support because we know we've got to make it nice and tight. So we eat in a short window. We teach you good behavior. You know you can go to bed without your popcorn, your ice cream, or your glass of wine. We know you can wake up and not eat for a few hours because we help you identify if you're hungry or not. This is a 10-day program. I've done 100-day programs, 90-day programs, 60-day programs, 100-day challenges. I'm going to tell you what, we've had so much success in this 10-day program. You can scroll down on my in my albums and look at before and after. You can see blood work. You can see people's pictures. We call it before and better, not before and after, because everyone's always on a better journey. So our before and better pictures, you can see people's A1C, cholesterol, thyroid, inflammatory markers. All that stuff is from my office. You can check out there. So if you've never tried exogenous ketones, never tried a ketogenic diet, want to dabble in biohacking, this is an amazing time. We do start March 1st. So that's right around the corner for people. So you got to let me know. You got to drop me an email so we can get your ketones. And what I am offering this time is that we are offering a free copy, 24-page of my Keto 10-Day Reset book. Normally this is, $10 in our office. But it's 24 color pages of books. It's got my favorite breakfast items in there. It's also got a lot of different ways to measure yourself. There's goal setting. There's obstacle identifying. So identifying what obstacles could be holding you back from getting the lifestyle that you want. So there's more on my blog at AskDrHeather.net. You can also, if you don't want to do the 10-day, you can also download your guide to start your ketogenic diet in the right way at AskDrHeather.net. Number 3, reboot. So this was our reset. We said who to test. We talked about who to test. Number 2, who to reset. Anybody who wants something different, anybody who's ready for a change. Maybe you've got a trip coming up. Maybe you've got an anniversary coming up. Maybe you've got graduation stuff coming up. Maybe you just put on some extra pounds over the holidays like most of Americans have, or people around the globe, not just Americans, as people put on weight. Maybe you just got some lab results from your doctor and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to change something. The scale didn't change, your clothes didn't change, but metabolically your blood sugar's up. Maybe your inflammatory markers are up. Maybe your ferritin's up. Maybe your thyroid's off a little bit. Maybe you're starting to feel super sluggish and you're maybe having some adrenal issues, or maybe you're catching colds earlier. That would be a great time to let's do a 10-day reset. And what we love to do is do a 10-day reset. So we lower down your carbs, we strip out the sugar, we strip out the snacking, we strip out the gum and mints and things like that. Make sure, again, you're drinking lots of water. We teach you a good sleep hygiene. We teach you all the importance about bone broth and all those good things. And then we have another option. So we also have a 60-hour keto reboot. This actually will start on March 10th. The kits are available today, tomorrow, and the next day only. We only have them available for about 3 or 4 days to make sure we get them shipped out to you. It is a 60-hour program. We do this coaching along with about 70,000 other people. Results are amazing. I was tempted to pull up my computer and start reading some of these amazing results that we're getting from people. But honestly, the testimonies, people start to discover things about themselves. We start identifying what it's like to have autophagy happening inside our body. I'm sure you're hearing that all over the news. 10 years ago, you didn't hear the word ketones or ketosis. 5 years ago, you maybe were hearing low carb paleo. We heard zone about 20 years ago, which is kind of revived paleo now. Gluten-free, dairy-free has been around for 10 or 15 years. But now we're hearing words like fasting, like it's okay to fast, it's okay to eat fats, it's okay to have salts. So when we start talking about the keto reboot, it is a type of fast where you're getting nutrients at the cellular level, you're getting ketones, you're getting a variety of minerals, you're getting a variety of amino acids, but you're not chewing food. So what that does is that allows your gut to rest. We know there's more nerves in our digestive system than our spinal cord. So what better way to calm down our nervous system? Hit that reset button like you've done on your computer or your phone or your breaker box at home. Let your body reset so it can go and gobble up. We call it autophagy. It gets rid of all those cells that have been attached to things like bugs and viruses and pesticides and other things that you're exposed to on a day-to-day basis. So then your body says, gosh, I don't have to digest food today for like 12 or 14 hours. Now I get to go and I get to clean sweep out the cellular level. I get to make new white blood cells. I get to stimulate human growth hormone. So that actually happens naturally. So that first 24 hours, we increase human growth hormone. Females 1,300%, males 2,400%, 2,400%. At 48 hours, we're through the glucose and glycogen. Then ketogenesis should be happening, where your liver is actually going and grabbing that fat, uncoupling that fat, because remember, fat is just stored fuel. Think of that brown bear concept that goes throughout the winter, and then it's making some ketones, so you actually can break that down. But then you've got to have the nutrients to come behind, because as you lose that debris out of the cells, you want to make sure you're replenishing those with zinc, potassium, and vitamin B, and calcium, and magnesium, and zinc. And we use natural herbs like rooibos tea, and we use some 5-HTP and some L-theanine, which is amino acid that is so important for your brain that we're not getting, and other amino acids. So it's an amazing 60-hour program. Maybe you say, I can't do 10 days. Got it. But maybe you say you can do 60 hours. We're there, we're in. Would love to have you join us. So I hope today that I've answered your questions about when to test, who to test, why you would test, and why maybe you shouldn't test. And I think people who are just cutting out the sugar, you really don't have to test. But if you're really striving to get into ketogenesis, where you really want to protect that lean muscle, slow down the aging process, start helping your brain actually regenerate and getting the fuel to your brain, then you actually do need to be testing. So I do like the Keto Mojo meter because it's very, very versatile. One poke will actually get your hemoglobin, your hematocrit, your red blood cells. It will tell that, also tells your ketones, and also tells your glucose all at the same time with one little push of the pen. So I was going to do that here live, but I think I don't want to waste your time. I'll post a picture later after I do it, or I'll make a little short video checking it, or you can find it online. So if you want to join our 10-day, time is ticking. I want to mail out everything by tomorrow at noon. The great benefit is 10 different, well, not 10, a variety of different ketone flavors, Plus, you're going to get a free copy. This is the only time I've extended this offer, a free copy of my 24-page 10-day keto kickstart reset. If you go to my blog, you're going to see that's either, I don't know, $12 or $14. We're going to give it to you free this time because my mission is to help you become the best version of yourself. I will be taking some time off in April for myself for self-care of 2019, but I want to make sure you are set and ready to go and you're actually achieving your goals. I've got an amazing team set up to help you get those goals set. So just either drop me a star down below. I always like the star button. Drop me a star down below if you want to participate. If you want to know more about the reboot, maybe just put a boot down there, like a cowboy boot, and let me know if you want to participate that or want more information. I can definitely get you a video that's about 3 or 4 minutes. Bye, hen. Kids going in and out as usual at my house. So anyway, my evening is done. I'm set to go. It's now mom time, and you guys have a great evening. I cannot wait to hear from you. And know that, as always, at Ask Dr. Heather, information is meant to be shared. It is meant to be educational. It's meant to bring you some type of value. Maybe it wasn't something you were interested in, but maybe it's somebody else might be interested in. So let me know if I can help you. And please, please, please keep your questions coming. Lots of questions on checking ketones, when, where, why, and how. So hopefully we got that answered in the first 3 or 4 minutes. I'm talking fast because your time's important. You guys have an amazing evening, and you'll be hearing from me soon.